Hi, I'm Kathy Quinn with Floriani Software. Today we're going to create a recipe in our software to stitch out onto a cup towel. Using your left mouse button, double-click on the Floriani icon on your desktop. What this is going to do is open our software, and it will bring up my Floriani Today box. This information box tells us what version of the software we're running. We can go in for updates if we need them. We can also create a new design, open a recently used. If we're connected to the internet, we can check on what's new, and of course we have our help. Today we're going to select Create a New Design by left mouse clicking on it. This will bring up our workspace. Now I like to set my workspace to work for me whenever I'm going to create a new design. The first thing I want to deal with is my grid. So I'm going to come up to the left-hand top corner of my ruler bar, and I am going to right mouse click. I want to work in inches today, so I want to make sure inches is selected. I want it to show my grid, and I do want to left mouse click on grid settings. The option box comes up and it lets me set the grid to my vertical and horizontal size that I want. Well, I want it at 1/2 inch, so I'm going to set it at 0.5. Because my Maintain Aspect Ratio button is selected, it will go ahead and make it proportionately vertically and horizontally. I'm going to show my grid as lines. I've selected that, and I'm now going to left mouse click on the OK button, and my workspace has been set up. The next step we're going to follow is we're going to come up to the top toolbar and we're going to our artwork tool. Now there is a little drop down arrow next to that tool, and we are going to left mouse click on it. That is going to allow us to select the rectangle, and you'll notice my cursor has now changed to a crosshair with a rectangle. I am going to draw a box on the screen by holding down my left mouse button, and I am going to drag this box down, and then as soon as I let go of my left mouse button, I have now created a box. I'm going to come up to the left-hand toolbar and select my Select button, and it is going to put my selection boxes around my box. Now I'm going to go to the right toolbar on the right-hand side of the screen, and you will see this is our Properties box. This allows us to change any of the properties to that square, and it's right in front of us on the screen. So I'm going to left mouse click on the Transform tab. Now what I need to do is change my width and my height, but I want to put in specific numbers. So I want to deselect the Maintain Aspect Ratio. I want to type in 5.75 inches and 11.75 inches, and I am now going to left click on the Apply button. I will need to come up to my Zoom box, and I am going to left click on the arrow, and I'm going to tell it to fit to screen so I can see the whole box. What I have created here is a boundary, a visual boundary. This box was created with my artwork tool, so it's as if I drew on the screen with a pencil. It is not stitches, so it will not stitch out or affect my stitch out in any way. It just gives me a visual to create my design in, knowing that I don't go outside the boundaries. Our cup towel, the front of our cup towel is 6 inches wide by 13 inches long. What I needed was a visual box so I could contain my design in it, so when I do stitch it centered on that cup towel, that I have nice spacing on either side and top and bottom. And this helps me if I have a boundary. Now I'm going to click off anywhere on my screen outside the box. I'm going to left mouse click and deselect the box. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to merge a design into our workspace. So I'm going to come up to File. I'm going to go down to Merge. Now the difference in opening a design and merging a design is I have already set up a workspace. I want to bring a design into the workspace I've already created, so I need to merge it. If you have never opened your Floriani software, gone in for a design before, I'm going to show you how to get to our designs folder. I want you to click your down arrow on your look-in box, and I want you to click on Local Disk C. I then want you to double left click on Program Files. We're going to go down till we see G7 Solutions. We are going to double left click on that. We're going to double left click on the folder that came up, and we are going to double left click on the Designs folder. In that folder you will find a Heart folder. We are going to double click on it, and we are going to open our Heart design. So left click on the Open after selecting your design. It comes into our workspace and it is already selected. So I want you to put your cursor on it, and I want you to right mouse click. With it selected, I want to come down and group that design. Designs a lot of times are digitized with many parts. And if we don't group them, we will go to move it and we will only get one part of the design. If we group it, it now only sees one object, and it makes it very easy to move around our screen. So let's left click on the group and group our design. We are now also going to come up on the design, and we're going to right click again, and we are going to go down to the transform, and we are going to left click on transform. Again, I have a properties box that comes up. Now this time I want to make my design, I want to change the size of it, but I do not want to skew the design. I want it to change proportionately. So I am going to select our Maintain Aspect Ratio button, and in the height I'm going to tell it I want this design to be 1.75 inches tall. Now you notice it went ahead and changed my width, so they're both at 50% now. I am going to come down and apply, and I will left click on Apply. My design has now changed. I will go ahead and grab my design, and notice that my cursor turns into a little hand, and I am going to drag it up somewhere near the top portion of my box. I will now click outside the design area with a left mouse click and deselect it. I also want to add a color to our color bar. Our color bar is here at the bottom. These are the colors that came in with our new design, and our first 8 colors are default colors that are always available when you open a new piece of paper. So I need to change color number 8. I'm going to left mouse click on it, and I want to come over here, and I'm going to select this red at the bottom here on the corner. I'm going to left mouse click on it, and it tells me that is 1086 Raspberry. It's also a Floriani polyester. That is the thread chart I use because I stitch with Floriani threads. We do have several threads in our thread charts. We're going to stay with Floriani, and I am going to select OK. I have now added that color to my color chart at the bottom. We're now going to start typing in our text for our recipe. Now you have gotten a handout that has everything typed out for you, and it shows you exactly how it needs to be typed into the text box. So we're going to go through this paragraph by paragraph, but we're going to start right now with Valentine cookies, and we're going to put that at the top of our screen. So I'm going to left mouse click on the text tool. That brings up an arrow with a little A on it. Our cursor now has a letter A hanging onto it. I want you to left click on your screen above your hearts somewhere. I'm going to now come down to our color bar, and that color 8 we just created. I want to right mouse click on, and I want to go up to Apply Color, and we are going to left mouse click on Apply Color, and you notice that my A has now changed colors. I also want to change my alphabet. We're going to come through, and I want Bauhaus, so I'm going to select that alphabet, and I'm going to come into my text box. I'm going to left click, I'm going to backspace to get rid of my A, and I am going to type in Valentine cookies. Once that's typed in, I'm going to look at the height. Well, I want that to be 1/2 inch. So I'm going to highlight it and type in 0.5. So I've got 1/2 inch height. I want to make sure the align is in the center. I just want normal text. So I'm going to come down here and left click on the Apply tab. Now I have Valentine cookies on my screen. Now you're going to notice that we have a lot of yellow boxes. We have some green boxes, some black diamonds. These are all points that we can use to change our text if we need to. On this text we are not going to change anything, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my left hand toolbar and I'm going to left mouse click on my select tool. That now selects my cookies and removes all the points that I can change, and I am going to drag it in and I'm going to move it to the top of that box and center it. So once I let go, there is my Valentine cookies, and I am going to click on the screen away from my text to deselect it. Now we need to type in our first paragraph of our ingredients. We have 3 paragraphs on the page that you've been given, the first being our ingredients, and that's all we're going to deal with right now. I am going to again left mouse click on my text tool. I am going to come down below my hearts and I am going to left mouse click and put my text on the screen. I am now going to right click on number 10 and apply my color. And I'm going to go in ahead and change my alphabet. I want a Times alphabet, so I'm going to come down and select Times. And I'm going to click in my text box, backspace, and I'm going to start typing in my recipe. Now I'm going to type the first line, which is 1 cup of unsalted butter. We're going to put the number 1 in, and then I am going to space 11 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I'm going to type in cup unsalted butter. I am then going to hit my enter key because that's the end of that line of text. And I am now going to type in 2. And I'm now going to just space over so that my lettering will line up, and type in cups, sugar, enter because that's the end of that line, and now we're going to continue down our ingredients. I want you to type those in now. So if you would pause this video till you have completed that task. Everybody finished typing? Okay, now we're going to set up our parameters for this text. The height for this I want to be 0.26. Make sure you put the point in or you're going to have it 26 inches each letter. So make sure you put in 0.26. My line spacing, I want it 30%. I want my alignment to the left. I want everything to line up evenly on the left side. And I am now going to apply these settings. As soon as they're applied, again, and we're going to zoom in here. I want to show you, if you come to your zoom tool on the left hand toolbar, left click on it and draw a box around this text, I want you to notice all these little symbols that we have here. What we have is I've got my green ones will skew it up and down. My diamonds will make it bigger. Our little yellow boxes will move the letter away from the rest of the pack. Now I've moved that and I don't want it moved. So remember, on the top toolbar, anytime you make an error, Undo is your friend. I can undo that and it puts it right back where it was. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my select tool by left clicking and select my text again. I am going to go ahead and go back to Fit to Screen, and I am going to grab this text and I'm going to move it and line it up with the left-hand edge of my boundary box and just kind of let it go there. We'll fine-tune it later. So we have completed our first paragraph of text. Now we're going to, again, I want you to left click on your text tool. I want you to come down below your first paragraph and click on inside your box. We are now going to go right click on color number 11 and apply our color. And we're going to come and start typing in. We're going to put our cursor in our text box, backspace, and we are now going to type in our second paragraph. Cream, butter and sugar, until fluffy. Once I have finished that sentence that I have written, you're following your handout exactly, you notice that it's time to enter and go to our next line of text. So now we're going to go to add eggs, one at a time, sift flour, and then you're going to enter. We're going to now pause this video again so that you can complete the text. Pause now. Everybody finished with that, typing in that paragraph? Now let's go to our height again. We are now going to change this to 2.25. So 0.25 in your height. Our line spacing is now going to be at 32%. Align, we want to left-hand justify. Again, we're keeping our Times font. And now we are going to apply that to our text. We are going to go get our select tool off our left-hand toolbar to remove all of our options for our lettering. And now we are going to again grab it and move it into place. Just kind of place it and we'll fine-tune it later. And now we have done our second paragraph. Now we have a real nice option in our software. Whenever I select that paragraph, you notice it's got my text in it. It has my height. It has my line spacing. It has everything that I've set up that I like when this stitches on a towel. When we're looking for text, especially text that's going to stitch that's rather small, these are 1/4 of an inch high letters, not all the text will work. Some of it is too dense, some of it's too wide. So I went through and I checked several different fonts and stitched them out till I found one that I thought worked the best. And I have picked it as the Times font. But now in 2 months when I want to do this towel again or do another recipe, I don't want to have to try and remember those settings. So in this software, we can come down now that we have applied that and we can select our little 3 dots. And we can tell it to save this type of formatting, and we can type in cup towel and say OK. And now I'm going to apply that. So now I have those settings saved in my software. So the next time I want to create this same exact thing, I've already got all my settings saved and I don't have to remember or play with heights and spacing to see which looks the best for me. We are going to deselect this text by left mouse clicking outside our design area. And now we are going to create our third and final paragraph by again left mouse clicking on the text tool. We're going to click below our second paragraph. I'm going to come down to color number 8. I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to apply that color. And again, we are going to type in our paragraph exactly as it is done on the handout you got. So we are going to start with heat oven to 350 degrees. And I am going to hit enter after the word line, and I am going to continue down the sheet until I have typed in the text completely. So pause this recording now. Finished typing out your third paragraph of text. Now that we have that, let's go ahead and apply. Change our height. Let's change our height first to 0.25. I want to change my line spacing to 32%. I want to align it to the left, and I want to apply. Again, I'm going to come up to my left-hand top toolbar and select by left mouse clicking my select tool. I'm going to grab my text and I'm going to set it in the space here below my second paragraph. Now that we have completed all of that, what we're going to do now is check and fine-tune our design. So come over and get your magnifying glass, your zoom tool. We are going to left mouse click on it and we are going to draw a box. Now remember earlier we had set our grid at half-inch settings. That kind of helps us with a visual to make sure all of our stuff is centered like we would like it. Now I don't need my zoom tool anymore, so I'm going to hit escape and it's going to default to my select tool. I'm going to look at my Valentine cookies. I'm going to click on it. Now you do notice whenever you select it, your text box comes back up and you could go ahead and change and reapply if there was anything you didn't like here. So I am just going to adjust it in spacing. If you want to just nudge something a little bit, you don't want to have to drag it around. If you hold down your control key on your keyboard, using your up and down arrows, I can move this in small increments till I like how it's centered in my box. I can now come down and select my hearts. Now remember, I've got half-an-inch grid system here. So I want to move this up till it's about 1/4 of an inch from my writing. And it doesn't have to be exact. We're just getting it close to our writing. And I kind of like that spacing. I'm going to click on my first ingredients and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. Now is also a good time. Let's make sure that we spelled everything correctly, that it is lined up nice. You notice my teaspoon of salt is not really lined up that well. So let's come up here into our text box and I can use my arrows to get to where my salt is. And I can go ahead and put my cursor in there and I can scoot that teaspoon of salt over. Which I can tell you right now, I'm going to have to scoot my cup of buttermilk over too because I lined it up with the salt. And I think my deco sugars are a little bit, well, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and apply. And let's see how we look now. Okay, I think I like my lineup pretty well. Everything is spelled right. So now I'm going to move this up. I'm going to hold my left key and I'm going to arrow this up until I like it. I think I'm going to move it a little bit with my cursor there. And I am now happy with how that is lined up. We're going to go ahead and move on down and we are going to grab our second paragraph here. And again, I'm going to read through it and make sure everything in it is spelled right. And I am going to hold down my control key and I am going to nudge it up as well. And I think it needs to move to the left a click or two. Now remember, we have some wiggle room on our cup towel. I made this 5.75 inches wide, and we know we have a 6-inch width. So now I'm going to move this up till it looks like it's about 1/4 of an inch from the paragraph above it. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on my third paragraph. Again, I'm reading through it, and I see that I have misspelled the word paper. So I'm going to come over here and find it, put my cursor in there, backspace. Now it says paper. Read through, make sure I haven't misspelled anything else in this. And I'm going to apply. Once I apply that, it's going to correct my misspelling. And it's very nice to know that we can go back through this and go in and move our text and take care of problems that we may have created in our text after the fact. So now I'm going to hold my control key, and again I'm going to nudge this up to where I think it's about 1/4 of an inch. And how do I tell that? I count the little dots on my screen. You notice we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 dots in here. So if I've got about 6 dots in between, I've got about 1/4 of an inch. And I am going to make sure that I move my lettering over so that it fits the edge. And I'm very happy with that. Now I'm going to deselect. I'm going to come in here and tell it to fit to screen again. And you have now created your recipe for your cup towel. What you would do now is, depending on if you're going to use a long hoop on your machine, or perhaps you have a 6 needle where your hoop, the width needs to be the longest part. So in that case, you would go to Edit, Select All, and I could come over to my left-hand toolbar and I could rotate this to the left if I needed it to fit that way in my hoop, if I needed to fit sideways. If I don't, I can make sure it's standing up. And now we're going to save our design. Now it's very important when you create design in software that you first save it in its native format. We create everything in our Floriani software in C2S format. That's ours. So I will File, Save As, and I will save it as my Valentine cup towel. Now when you're working in a design, if you get distracted or you have to stop, always save a draft before you walk away from your computer so you know which design you're working on, and then when you're finished, type in a finish so you will know which one you actually want to pick to stitch out. And I know you've all had the problem where you've worked on a design and you can't remember which one it was. So let's now save this. It is saved in its native format. So if I need to come back and after I stitch it out, I notice I missed a poorly spelled word or something doesn't look right, I can come back and I still have full autonomy in this design. Now I want to save it as the design I want to stitch out, my format. And you will notice we have all formats available to you. So you would select the format that your machine stitches in. We do have Baby Lock and Brother. We've, of course, Singer, Pfaff, Elna, Viking, Singer. We come down Janome. Now, for Bernina, you want to save to the Melco Bernina format, which is EXP. So if you have a Bernina machine, save to that. So save to your format that you need to save this design to. And now you are ready to stitch this out. Now I hope you come back next month for our project of the month, which will be taught again, and we'll have a brand new product and we'll learn new things in our software. I want to thank you for coming today, and I hope you enjoy your towels.